Hi YouTube family, and welcome into today's video, which is going to be, as the title said, ranking all of the palettes that I bought in 2018, the eyeshadow palettes. Last week I watched Melissa Gold do this video and she challenged everybody else to do it or kind of send it out there, and I thought this is really a good video for me personally to do because I knew that I had bought so many in 2018. So I'm going to tell you right off the bat that I do have 37 palettes sitting in front of me, and yes, that is a ton of palettes. The one thing that really good came out of this video is that it smacked me in between the eyes. I have a palette obsession, whether it's a face palette, an eyeshadow palette, I don't know. I just see them and I think, oh my goodness, you know, it's so beautiful. So I'm going to be really choosy in 2019 about the palettes that I do choose to buy. Part of the problem is companies are just coming out with them so quick, so fast. And being a YouTuber and somebody that I feel like, you know, you guys want to see me review these things, then I feel like I need to get the latest and greatest. But I realize that, you know what, I don't need that necessarily. I need to be bringing you guys good content. That doesn't necessarily mean the brand new whatever. I do feel like foundations are one that, and concealers are ones that I want to keep up on, just because, you know, I'm always on the hunt for really good foundations, really good concealers. But as far as eyeshadow palettes, I could never use all these eyeshadow palettes in my lifetime if I tried. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this video into two parts. I'm going to take half of these palettes. I'm going to go backwards. We're going to go from number 37 up to number 1. I'm not going to take a lot of time per se on each individual one or telling you, you know, or giving you swatches or looks or anything. If I have had a video on doing a look from it, then I will definitely link it. Without further ado, let's just get into it very quickly. Okay, first one, number 37 is the Ignite palette from NYX. When I saw this, I thought the color story was so pretty on it, and I still do think the color story is very pretty on it. But when I got into it, they're just so chalky, and there was so much kick up and so much fallout that I found that I had a hard time really, you know, grasping a really good look out of that, and it just really fell short for me. So one of the things, this is number 30, this is number 36, this is the NYX Swear By It palette. One of the things that I keep doing is I keep buying NYX palettes hoping that their formula will change. But I know in the back of my mind that NYX formula is not going to change. And so this is number 36, and this is a palette that the same thing happened as the Ignite palette. Beautiful colors. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to work with so many different looks. It just really spoke to me, the color presentation, especially with all these cool tones down here. But when I got it on and tried all kinds of different looks, very powdery, very, a lot of kick up, but really muddy. The colors aren't vibrant, and they aren't able, I'm not able to get a really distinct look out of it that I would like. Number 35, and I think some of you guys are going to be kind of surprised at this, is the Rimmel Spice. The Naked Heat one I didn't purchase specifically for this reason. I just didn't feel like I could get enough different looks out of it, and that's what these Rimmel palettes have done for me. Now I do have a couple of the other ones up a little bit further, as you'll see in the ranking, but this one for me, because it's the oranges and my coloring doesn't lean towards this really super warm tones, it just really didn't work that great for me. I think it's a great formula. I just think that I'm ranking these on whether or not I would be able to reach for them all the time, that I did reach for them all the time, and whether or not there were ones that I could go for different looks, because you guys know I'm all about, you know, trying different things all the time. The number 34 is from Ace Beauty, and this is the Blossom Passion palette. You guys can look in this one and you can see that I've barely even touched this, and the reason being is because when I did, again, the colors just super muddied together, and there just seemed to be one look coming out of this palette no matter what I did. There is a pretty nice black over here that you could, you know, deepen some of these up with, but again, you're just deepening up pink colors. There is a bright red over here, which I didn't find to be very saturated and very patchy, so I'm not really happy about that one. Number 33 is the Electric Violet one from Rimmel. This one, I just had a hard time with a lot of the colors. They worked out very patchy on my eyes and I just had a hard time blending them together. And I love purples, but these purples really fell short for me. Number 32 is the Atlantis palette by Face Candy. This is a really good formula palette, but the reason that I put it down lower in my ranking is because I wasn't able to get like a complete look out of this because there wasn't really a transition color. Now you could use this kind of a light gray color right over here, bluish gray color over here as a transition, but that was really the only one in here, and then you would have to work into the other colors. Very beautiful palette for using just some accents, you know, like what I have on the bottom, that it isn't out of this palette, but this color right here is almost identical to what I'm using on my bottom lash line today. So this palette I did like. If you like blues and you feel like you don't have enough in your collection, this is a really good palette to go for. But I have a bunch of blues and I just don't find myself reaching for this very often at all. Let's move on to number 31, and a lot of you guys are going to be surprised at this too. This is the Violet palette from Makeup Revolution. Gorgeous packaging on Makeup Revolution's palettes that are the chocolate ones. There's some really pretty colors in here and you could get some really pretty looks out of it, but honestly, you guys, I don't know why. I just didn't reach for it that much. It's a beautiful palette. Maybe I just need to work with it more. Maybe it's just that my collection has so many in it, which, like I said, that could very well be. So yeah, that's the few swatches that I have off of that one. I do like it. Again, it just ranks lower because I haven't reached for it very often. This one is the Rimmel Crimson one. Again, these are ones that because of their color story, I just had a hard time reaching for them. And so that's why they're ranked lower. However, this one had a better color story, I felt like. I felt like it did the gamut of different colors that you could really choose from. It went through, yes, it has the crimson colors, the red colors, but it also has some really great browns, some great purple or great reds, some great pinks, even like a brick brown color down here. So I think that the color story on that one is really pretty. It's just ranked lower because I don't reach for it that much. And again, maybe I just need to start reaching for some of these more. Number 29 is the Maybelline Soda Pop palette. I did like this palette very much. And I actually really do like working with this palette. It has some really great colors in here. This whole upper part right here, actually it would be the lower part. So this whole lower part right here is full of cool tones, and then the upper part is full of warm tones. One of the things that I will say about this particular palette is there was a little bit of a problem with a couple of the colors that really didn't come through. There's a few patchy ones in there that did kind of make this one rank a little bit lower. Okay, number 28 is the Love, Trust, and Fairy Dust from Tarte. First of all, I think I got sucked in by the packaging on this because I think this packaging is so pretty. Rose gold, all kinds of pink glitter up here with stars and just gorgeous. But you guys, the color story inside of here, there was one look that I could get out of this. Now I could, you know, go either towards the brown side or I could go either towards the mauve side. There really wasn't too many looks out of here, but I bought it and I do like it because this is kind of in my wheelhouse. This is what I like to work with. But honestly, you guys, if I was, you know, looking for a palette and recommending a palette to you guys, unless you're an absolute lover of the burgundy colors, the plum colors, I would really tell you, you know, that this wasn't a palette for you because there's just not enough looks that can come out of that palette. Number 27 is from Juvia's Place. This is the Festival by Juvia's Place, the Festival palette. I really like these. You guys know how much I am a Juvia's Place junkie. However, Juvia's Place really kind of fell short for me this year. Just, again, because a lot of their colors just didn't speak to me. But I'll tell you what, these are some of the most saturated colors that I've ever seen them even put out, even just in this palette. And this palette has only four different shimmers in here. The rest are mattes. They're so saturated, you guys. I don't think that there are any other palettes on the market that you're going to ever find that are as saturated as the Juvia's Place palettes. The next one is the Juvia's Place. I'm going to murder this name. I apologize. The Afrique or Africa palette. It's Q-U-E on the end. So this one is a beautiful color story. However, the problem with this palette, I think, is when I open it up, I look at it and I go, I don't know what I'm going to do, because it kind of just feels like to me like it's not cohesive. There's just some jumbling around there. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I just, you know, when I look at it, because it's got so many of the really bright like yellows and greens in here, maybe I just look at it and I get a major brain fart. I don't know. But again, the color payoff, because this is a Juvia's palette, the color payoff is just phenomenal, you guys. I love Juvia's Place. I would recommend them over and over again. So number 25 is the newest one that they just released, and it is the Thrive by Juvia's Place. And this one is pretty as well, but this one, again, the color story, when I look at it, I get really, really overwhelmed by it. But I'll tell you what, you guys, I did find some really beautiful colors in here. And even though I'm not crazy about this bright neon green thing they've got going on in here, some of these colors are phenomenal, you guys. They're so gorgeous, so saturated, so pretty. Juvia's Place is one that if you haven't tried this before, please try it. Please dip your toe in there and you know, see if it's something that you'll like, because you can't go wrong with the color payoff, the blendability, how smooth and creamy, and the quality of these eyeshadows are so good. Okay, number 24 is the Vice palette from Face Candy. This one I ranked it up there because it's of course got the purples in it, which you guys know I love, but not only that, it has this great color story of having these cool tones up top, and then you have your row of your purples, and then you have another row down here of just interesting colors. Like there's a super pretty mid-tone brown there, and then all of these gorgeous purples. And I really like Face Candy's products most of the time. There are a few misses in there, and even within this palette there has been a few that haven't been, you know, the greatest. There's a couple that are a little bit patchy, like this little taupe one right here is a little bit patchy. But overall, this palette to me, because it is my colors that I love to wear so much, has been worth it. Number 23 is from Dose of Colors, and this is the Friendication palette, the Desi and Katy palette. This is a really pretty palette, you guys, and I just think it's one of those ones that you can look at and you can make lots of looks with. Mel Thompson has a really good review of this out, where she kind of does, where she layers different colors on top of different ones, and it really kind of inspired me to purchase this palette. So it's a really pretty palette. I really do like the formula of them. Again, it's very soft, very buttery, very blendable, and it has some of these absolutely gorgeous pop of colors over here on the side. One of the things I will say is that when I was looking at it, I did get a little bit overwhelmed with what to put together with what. But if you have a creative mind and you like wearing all different kinds of colors, this would be just fantastic for you. Number 22 is the Colourpop DreamStreet palette from KathleenLights. And this palette is one that I did do a tutorial out of, and I think the color story in here is absolutely gorgeous as well. There are quite a few light colors in here, but if you know Kathleen, you know that her coloring is extremely light, so you can understand why that's the case. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about Colourpop shadows because if you guys have watched me for any sort of time at all, you know that I am a big Colourpop fan. I think that their pressed shadows are just a really great formula. This palette has so many looks could come out of there. I think for the money and for the quality, that Colourpop is just right up there, and this is one of their better palettes. So number 21 is the Colourpop Perception palette with Shayla, and this one is so pretty as well. This one has the ability to give you so many looks. It does have a couple of colors in here that I was a little bit disappointed in, but on the whole, that color story was so pretty. I just think that's one that I got a lot of use out of, and I think that if you're somebody that likes to go on the neutral side but likes to like venture out into a little bit of color, that this would be really good for you as well. Okay, number 20 is the Makeup Revolution. This is the Reloaded Visionary palette. I thought I was going to absolutely love this palette because of the purples and the plums in there, but when I got to working with it, a lot of the colors really did kind of repeat themselves. Like the purples just weren't that outstanding in their differences, so I was a little bit disappointed. And then there was also a bit of patchiness with it. I usually really love Makeup Revolution's formula. This one just fell short for me just a little bit. Okay, we're at number 19. This one is from the Jaclyn Hill Vault collection. I didn't think I was going to buy any of these because I'm personally not a fan of the big Jaclyn Hill palette, and I had heard so many bad reviews on these little ones that I was like, I don't think so. But when I went into Ulta and I swatched them, these two, there's another one in my ranking, they really were something quite special. And this one is the Dark Magic one, and the reason is because there is this softness in this formula. I don't know what's going on with this formula, but I really was quite blown away with how good the pigmentation was. And I had heard so many people say so many bad things about it. I was just really worried about it. But that color right there, which is a pewter color, is one of my favorite eyeshadow colors of all time. It just is so pretty on. It's different than anything I've ever seen before too. So the number 18 one is the Makeup Revolution Soph X Extra Spice palette. This was kind of a sequel to her original one, and I loved her original one, you guys. I did a video where I did my whole entire face, lip color, blush color, everything out of that palette, and I think you could probably do that out of this palette too. I thought that this palette was so well done, especially for somebody that loves to work with colors, somebody that loves to work with warm tones. If you are that person, you would love this. And again, Makeup Revolution is one of my favorite formulas from the drugstore. I think they do a really good job. I don't think that there was many in here that were huge misses for me. However, there was a few that were on the lighter side. Like I'm going to swatch this green for you right now. That one right there was on the lighter side, but they could be built up. You just had to be really careful with them. I ranked this where it is because I loved the looks that I got out of them, and I found myself reaching for this all the time. Okay, that's it for part one of ranking all of the 2018 eyeshadow palette purchases that I have. Watch for number 2 coming tomorrow. I will make sure that it's up tomorrow so you guys don't have to wait very long. I'm excited to get these out for you guys. I might even decide to do these like back to back where I put one up and then I'll put one up later in the day. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this one up, and then later in the day, I'll make sure that I put the other one up for you guys. Please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so if you wouldn't mind. I would really love to have you here as a part of our YouTube family that is growing. And so watch for part 2 coming later on this afternoon. And yeah, that's everything. You guys take care of yourselves. Love ya. Bye.